gothic winter, folklore, and hockey romances, it's my winter TBR. So if you're anything like me, I am a huge mood reader. I cannot read a summer book if it's wintertime. I need something that's gonna add to the ambiance of winter. It's gonna make me either feel cozy or I guess alternatively really cold, which is probably not the best idea because it's already really cold where I live. I don't need to feel more cold. But it's kind of, it's just part of the vibe. You have to embrace the seasons as they come. So I really love making a seasonal TBR. Do I always stick to it? No, I do not. But it's like a nice guideline to kind of have an idea of what I want to read, and keeps me accountable to some of my goals, especially with like the end of the year coming up. I want to finish my reading goal. I'm pretty close, but this just is a nice little list. I don't have to think about what to read. I can just grab something from my TBR. So let's dive into some wintry books. Actually, before I show you my physical TBR, I will just say I am currently reading one book. I keep forgetting the name of this, but it's part of the Crimson Witch series, and I'm on the second book, Rebel Witch, which I believe it's a duology, so this is the last one. And I'm really enjoying it. I just started the second one today, and it's kind of taken me by surprise. I feel like the first one, I was really not enjoying at first, and then something just clicked all of a sudden, whether it be the witchy politics or the magic system or a certain male main character, who knows? But it's really clicking, and I just picked up the second book, and I'm excited to continue that. I will definitely be doing that as soon as I'm done with this. So that's kind of on my TBR to just finish up. Next, I have Murder for Christmas. I don't think it is truly the winter season unless you have some thriller or mystery involved. And I think this is going to be a really fun one. It is obviously a Christmas themed one. I actually got this from a free little library, so I had not heard of it before this. It sounds like it's pretty much a typical cozy mystery thriller. There is a Christmas party, and then there is a murder, and our characters are trying to find out how and when and why this murder took place. And it seems like the murderee, the dead person, might be Santa Claus? I don't know. It says Saint Nick or Father Christmas. Is that the same thing? I don't know. But yeah, I think this one's gonna be a cute, cozy one. I love looking for free little library books, so this was kind of a good find, I think. Okay, next is obviously a classic. This is Wuthering Heights, and this is the Barnes & Noble edition. Unfortunately, it lives on my nightstand, and there was a incident with some water, and a lot of the really beautiful detailing peeled off, which was very disappointing, but honestly kind of looks a little bit more gothic, which is kind of cool, I guess. Gotta look for the positives. But this is a classic. I don't think I need to truly go into what this one's about. There is the movie coming up with Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, which I'm very intrigued by. I know that a lot of people are kind of upset that it doesn't look very accurate to the book. Although I did read somewhere, someone said it's kind of a nice thing that all adaptations are not always true to form, and that, art can be a little bit interpretive. And I think that was actually a really good take. I obviously have not read it, so I need to before going into it to really see how not accurate it is. But I am kind of intrigued by this adaptation, and I think I definitely will be watching it. But I want to read the source material first, and this has been on my list for a long time, so I'm really excited. And next is a book that still has the receipt in it, but feels like this book is, I'm the last person on earth to be reading this series. It is the second in the Sarah J. Maas, what is the series called? You know what it's called. It's the second in this series, and it is Crown of Midnight. I really enjoyed the first one. I have read all of ACOTAR. That was my first of Sarah J. Maas, and so this series will be my second. And I really actually enjoyed the first one. I guess I don't know what I expected, but I think everyone says that they liked the first one better, or this series better than ACOTAR, and I was a little bit apprehensive. I feel like I enjoyed ACOTAR, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be more entertaining, but it really was. Sorry, my cat's scratching his scratching post. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, and it took me a surprise. It was almost kind of spooky in a way, like the monsters and some of the elements were giving it like almost. I've been watching Wednesday, so it was kind of reminding me of Wednesday a little bit, and also just kind of way eerier than I thought. And I love a horror book, so I was kind of, obviously it's not horror, it's fantasy, but it had some interesting elements I was not expecting. So I'm actually super excited to go on to the next one. Is this entirely wintry? Maybe not. I think the first one did have snow in it, so I'm kind of gonna run with that. And the cover is kind of wintry. Listen, nobody's perfect. Okay, this next one I know is pretty wintry, and it's Frederick Brockman's Beartown. Sorry, I'm covering it. And this is about a community where hockey is like really important to the community. It's like kind of their claim to fame, it seems. And then one day something kind of crazy and possibly tragic happens, and it affects the whole town, and it changes kind of the culture of this town, I guess. This is supposed to be really good, really emotional, I think, and heavy hitting. But I feel like everybody who reads this loves it and has only had really good things to say. And I've been wanting to read this, and I bought it in the summer. And I have, like I said, been waiting for winter to read this because I believe it is set during the winter in this hockey town. So I need it to be snowing out when I read this, but I'm really excited for this one. I'm not someone who reads a lot of like literary fiction, which is what I believe this is. But this one has just intrigued me for a really long time. So I'm very excited. Next I have Green Glass House, and I love this cover. Could you get any more wintry than this beautiful cover? I don't know. I don't think you can. Pretty hardcover as well. I like the green. It's like a perfect shade of green. But this is a book I had on my Goodreads to read list, and my boyfriend actually bought it for my birthday last year. So I am definitely going to read it this year because I did not get around to it. And I'm really excited. I believe this might be YA or middle grade, but it says it's wintertime at Green Glass House. The creaky smuggler's inn is always quiet during the season, and Milo, the innkeeper's adopted son, plans to spend his holidays relaxing. But on the first icy night of vacation, out of nowhere, the guest bell rings. I will leave it at that. But I think it's going to be kind of a cute mystery. I definitely think it's for younger audiences. I don't think it's anything crazy. But I'm really excited. I love it. I love the idea of a like glass house in a storm. Kind of spooky. Next I have, okay, this is again maybe not necessarily a winter read. It's kind of more of a fall read, but I didn't get to it in the fall, so I want to read it now. It's Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, which is another one I feel like needs little introduction. But for those who might not know, this is about two students who have, I believe, an academic rivalry, and they venture into hell to rescue their professor because I believe they need a recommendation letter or something. It sounds kind of ridiculous and silly, but I think the book is definitely not going to be silly. I think it's going to be definitely a dark academia, and kind of from the premise that reminds me a little bit of Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, which is one of my favorite series. And I'm really intrigued by this author. I know she wrote Babel and Yellowface, which I have not read either, but I know both have been highly regarded, as well as this one. And I feel like people are just obsessed with her dark academia writing. So I'm really excited. I just feel like the plot of this one intrigued me more than Babel, and just sounded kind of more fantastical. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I am super excited to read this one. I cannot wait to talk about it. Next, I have a few books that I don't own physically that I would like to read that I'll either try to get from Libby or use my Audible or like Spotify audio listening hours, something like that to get them. The first one I would like to read in this category is Winter Spirits. It is an anthology of Christmas and winter themed ghost stories, which is sounds perfect for me. I love a spooky ghost story or horror story, and I really like anthologies because you get a little taste of a bunch of different authors and their styles, which is kind of cool. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be really fun. The next one I want to read is kind of another Krampus themed one, I believe. It's called Lucky Girl, How I Became a Horror Writer. And it is about this woman who goes to a diner and meets 7 strangers and invites them back to her home, and they start to tell ghost stories. I'm not totally sure how Krampus becomes involved, but I've heard from other booktubers and people who talked about this book that Krampus is involved. So I'm intrigued. I'm just really intrigued by the whole Krampus concept, just because I really like folklore and I really like cryptids and like monster horror is like interesting to me, especially when it's so, I feel like people know who Krampus is. He's kind of like famous. So I'm intrigued by that. Next, I have to include a romance, of course. I do love to like incorporate a little romance or something lighter, especially when I read a lot of horror and sometimes a lot of fantasy, so it's kind of a palate cleanser. Right now I have on my TBR Consider Me by Becca Mack. This is a hockey romance. I feel like it would be unjust to go through the winter without reading one, although I'm not married to this one. It's on my TBR, it's been on my TBR, but there's nothing really calling me to it more than any other one. It just seems pretty standard. So I might still look around and see if there's another either hockey romance, or I really do like reading a Christmas romance as well, like a holiday romance or something. I just don't have one specifically that's like standing out to me this year. So I definitely need to search around. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know, because it's not like exciting me to pick it up, but I do like to read like a romance in the winter. The next one I would like to read is Midnight in Everwood. I'm excited about this one because it seems like it's a Nutcracker retelling. It's about a girl who does ballet, but then she has to kind of become part of Edwardian society. I think that's how you say it. And she's, not suited for that life, or she just kind of misses ballet and the freedom that comes with that. And then a character comes into her life and builds a ballet set that transports her into another magical snowy world. So definitely intrigued by this one. I love a Nutcracker story. My birthday was Nutcracker themed 2 years ago, and I just love just the beauty of it. I've actually never seen it live though, which is kind of tragic, and I would really like to, but I don't know, it just seems so magical and like fantastical, and I love that. The last book on my TBR is The Bear and the Nightingale, which I've had on my winter TBR for years now, and I just have not gotten around to it, so I think this has to be the year. And this is a Russian folklore about a girl who lives in the woods, and she's kind of raised to respect and revere these ancient gods and demons that she hears stories of from childhood. And sadly, one day her mother passes away and her father remarries, and this new wife does not respect any of these stories or traditions. And from there, things start getting weird, and the main character has to kind of take matters into her own hands to save her family and everyone else in her village. So I'm really excited for this one. I think it'll be really interesting. I don't know, I think I have read some Russian folklore, or like books with some Russian folklore themes, but nothing like this. So I am really excited to kind of dive into that lore, and just kind of read from a new perspective. And I think it'll be super wintry and super atmospheric. So that concludes my winter TBR. Those are all the books that are currently on my radar for winter. Although I'm definitely always kind of on the lookout, and I feel like I add things in later, and sometimes I don't read like half the books I say I want to read. But it is just kind of a good baseline to like remember what kind of themes I'm going for. So I'm really excited. I'm definitely looking forward to just getting cozy and wearing my like Christmas pajamas and having hot chocolate and reading all these books. So I think that's what I'm gonna go do. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.